What was the single biggest expense for most people in the beginning of the 20th century? Food. Not rent, not transport, not schooling. In late Qing China, working families spent between 60 and 80% of their income simply feeding themselves. Survival was measured in bowls of rice, in sacks of grain, in whether the harvest held, and just as daily life depended almost entirely on local crops, the British Empire constructed something radically new, a global food network. By 1900, the empire controlled roughly a quarter of the world's land and population, but its true power was not painted red on a map. It was movement. Grain from the Canadian prairies traveled by rail to the Great Lakes, poured into towering mechanical elevators in Buffalo and Chicago, transferred onto steamships bound for the Atlantic. From there, vessels passed Gibraltar, cut through the Suez Canal, crossed the Indian Ocean, threaded the Strait of Malacca at Singapore, and arrived in Hong Kong. The Royal Navy secured the sea lanes. London banks financed cargo and insurance. Telegraph cables transmitted prices across continents in hours instead of months. For the first time in history, wheat could respond to demand on the other side of the world with something close to predictability. Meanwhile, China's internal grain economy remained fragmented. Southern China was rice-based in culture and cuisine. Rice was identity, habit, daily rhythm. In the north, wheat and millet grew across the North China Plain, but agriculture was rain-fed and vulnerable to drought and flood. The once mighty Grand Canal had declined in efficiency. Rail networks were limited. Surplus in one province did not easily flow to deficit in another. In some cases, it was cheaper and more reliable to ship wheat across oceans than to move it smoothly within China itself. Into this tension stepped Rennie. In Junk Bay, with deep water access and room for industrial-scale operations, he built a flour mill not for village subsistence, but for an emerging urban market. Foreign merchants, colonial administrators, treaty port elites, and a growing class of Chinese consumers exposed to bread, biscuits, and wheat noodles. Trade had opened the ports, and with it came new tastes. Rennie believed that if global markets could deliver wheat cheaply enough, flour could compete even in a rice-dominated South. He was betting that infrastructure could reshape consumption, that empire's arteries could pump prairie grain into the kitchens of Guangdong. But when food absorbs most of a household's income, small shifts in price matter enormously. Markets may be global, yet hunger remains local, and as tariffs, gold standards, and financial tensions began to ripple through this vast imperial network, the same system that enabled opportunity could magnify risk. In the next episode, we examine the monetary and policy forces beneath the surface of trade and how the currents of global finance would test the very foundation of Rennie's bold wager.